Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm so excited because we have two wonderful guests in the studio with us to finish out the show. We have Keri Bowers from The Art of Autism, who's been with us before, and we love her. And Keri has brought a friend, Brian Dunn, with her. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, that you guys are getting ready to do a pretty big event on the 2nd, February 2nd. Tell us a little bit, what is the event that's happening, Brian?
It's an autistic panel where it's going to be live streamed over the internet, and it's regarding people that have autism and how they cope with it and deal with it, and the challenges that they face, and pretty much that's basically it.
Well, it sounds very exciting, and I love this idea of the entire panel being individuals who are on the autism spectrum. You yourself identify as somebody who's on the autism spectrum.
Yes, I am.
And how old are you, Brian?
I'm 38 years old.
You know, and it occurs to me that probably that might not be a question that everybody loves. Is it okay to ask you how old you are?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
You know, if you asked me, I would be like, Brian.
Yes, well, that's not really a question a man asks a woman, so.
Well, but maybe, you know, I need to be more sensitive to that. Maybe some men don't want to be asked that. But
that's true. That's true.
So I apologize for having asked that. But, you know, part of why I wanted to ask that is I think so often, even on this show, we try really hard to showcase adults who are on the autism spectrum, because a lot of the conversation, because insurance drives a lot of things, ends up being about kids on the spectrum. So that's why this panel, I think, is really exciting. So many adults on the autism spectrum, and it's an opportunity for those of us who have younger kids to come and hear what it's like for you and to learn from you and from the other people on the panel. So happening on February 2nd, where is it happening, Brian?
And I'm sorry about that. I'm a little nervous.
No, notes. That's okay.
That's okay.
Well, I'm a little nervous. Sorry about that.
Oh, why? You're doing so great.
30345 Canwood at the Chabad in Agoura. Chabad in Agoura. The event will be live streamed on YouTube.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And so how did this, first of all, how did the two of you come about? When did you first meet Keri Bowers?
I met Keri Bowers in mid of 2016, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And we just connected. I went to an autism event, and when I got there was just something that really clicked with me. It was just something that was just magical about it.
I
liked it a lot.
A lot of people find Keri Bowers a little bit magical because she's got that quality about her. But as I think I've heard that this was an Art of Autism event. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Do you notice that I'm really keeping my mouth shut?
You're doing
because this
so
is
good.
Brian's moment to really share, and our panel's time. So I'm going to learn how to shut my mouth, but there are some details I'd like to fill in as we need them today.
Absolutely. We warned Brian ahead of time that he was sitting with two women who like to talk a lot. We were both very comfortable, and that it's, you know, a tough thing for anybody. But I appreciate that this is a mission that you're on, to do more listening than speaking, because I need to be on that mission as well. But fill in the details for us, Keri.
Let's go back to in August. We were screening Normal People Scare Me Too.
Yes.
At the old silent movie theater in
Wonderful.
Fairfax, old Charlie Chaplin, beautiful venue.
Yeah.
And we had the Art of Autism art all in the back patio with bougainvillea. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian walked in with his parents. And I want you to take it from here. Besides the magic, what did you say to yourself that you later told me when you saw that?
Is it possible I could display my artwork here? Because I'd really like to show people my artwork and see what they think about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a powerful moment.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
And something else happened there. Your parents stood on the sidelines with their mouths open, saying, "Who is this son of ours?"
Yeah.
Because what were you doing in that environment?
I was going around asking people questions I was introducing myself to them.
By the way, I gave Brian a challenge because I was being inundated with people, and yet we were meant to meet that day on purpose.
Right.
And so I didn't want him to be sort of on the sidelines just kind of watching. So I gave him a challenge, which we can do with any of our kids. This comes from my social skill facilitation past. And I asked you, I want you to go find 6 people. Mm-hmm. I want you to learn their name and what brought them here today.
That's exactly what I did.
Do you so well? And when you came back to me, do you remember how close you were to perfect? in your demonstration of that activity? Do you remember?
Almost there. Scale from 1 to 10, almost there.
Five people's names.
5 people's names.
And why 4 of them came.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
And so what happened after that event? What did we begin to do?
We began to get to know each other a lot better. And then we get to, well, I'm kind of nervous right now, but it's
okay. You know what? We go, blah, when we're nervous.
Yeah.
We began to work together.
Exactly.
So Brian and I work together once a week for a couple of hours. And we work on executive, administrative, life skill functioning. And do I push you hard?
Yes, you do. You push me hard, but
yeah.
you really love me and care about me, and that's why you do it.
Well, and
I realize that.
And share a little bit, and I know Meg, your mom, won't mind. Before we began to work with each other,
yes,
how did you consider your mom in your life? As wonderful as she is.
As wonderful as my mom is, I kind of consider her to be kind of a vulture on my back. The helicopter mom, a little bit too overprotective, so she's hovering over me, and that's basically how I saw my mom back then.
And I think a lot of individuals feel that way about, I would say that if my son were sitting here, he would be nodding his head, right? Because I want to, before we started, I said, I have to know where my phone is in case my son has to get a hold of me.
I'll go on record saying my son's not talking to me right now.
Yeah.
He's doing what a lot of sons or daughters do at 16, 18, rebelling against authority and their parents.
Yeah.
And my very dear friend wrote me a letter and said, thank goodness you gave him the tools that he could reach into that and rebel.
And I want to say too, Keri, I just want to thank you because you have been very transparent about your journey in so many different ways. And I had seen you post something about, this very topic. And I don't think that I publicly thank you. So let me do that here because it really gives all of us an opportunity to learn, to prepare, to not judge ourselves, to not feel, because I clearly look at you and think, you're an amazing mom. And if there's a moment when your son says, I need to separate and not talk to you, I see that as a moment of strength for you to say it's okay and for him to say, I'm going to be my own person and come back to you. I wouldn't have seen that for myself. But when that happens with my son, I will have your experience to say, hey, I'm just going to take a breath here because this is what happens. Keri showed me that, so thank you.
Well, and thank you. And I want to make it clear, I'm not posting about it wantonly.
No.
I've posted like twice, and one of them was Christmas Eve or 11 o'clock at night. Christmas Eve is his birthday, and it was the first birthday in 28 years I was not with him. And I suddenly felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, I don't think I can breathe or something like that. And I hit the send button, not really realizing that I hit the enter button. And I had people, because I don't usually, it's not that I'm not transparent, but I do feel that we need to be vulnerable as advocates, as speakers, as moms.
Yeah.
And I had people immediately emailing me, calling me, texting me saying, do we need to call 911? And I'm like, no, I'm just crying, and I don't cry easy.
Yeah.
So when I see your mom, who I also work with individually, because she is open, she is vulnerable. And I would like to get back to now, though I held you, I asked you, all right, so mom's the vulture on your back, but what are you doing in your life to be the adult she's nagging you to be? And at the time, way back when we first started working together, how much of your life were you driving not the real vehicle, but the metaphoric vehicle of your life? How much were you doing for yourself?
I was doing pretty much most of it.
Before we started working?
No, when we started working.
When we started working,
Yes.
The truth is you were pretty much on your couch playing video games.
Yes.
And you weren't doing very well in the class that you had.
No, I wasn't taking it very seriously at all. I was kind of slacking off.
I think it's fair to say that once, Brian, you began to find your own power.
Yes.
Your own self-determination. And it began to matter to you, not because of mom, not because of dad or your brother. I have seen you take on challenges like being here today in a huge way. So talk about that. Talk about like the class that you're taking, for example.
I'm taking a dental technology class in Simi Valley.
Yay.
Yep, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was previously. I've taken it more seriously now. It's more of an interactive thing because I socialize and mingle with the people in the class and joke around with them, whereas before I just kept to myself and really didn't say anything to anyone. But now it's something that I really look forward to because I'm like one of the guys now when I go there.
And so are you working towards the hope of being a dental hygienist or a dental technician? What's the end game? What do you want to do after when you get all done with your schooling?
Afterwards, I'd like to become a dental technician.
Okay.
And I really think that'd really be good for me.
I can see that. I would come to the dentist office where I would trust you with my teeth. Mm-hmm. I would absolutely do that, Brian. So you'll have to keep us informed when you're ready and when that's all happening. It's a pretty powerful thing, and I know that there are people who are watching who, have been saying for a while, there aren't enough things for teenagers, there aren't enough things for young adults, there aren't enough, so you're doing this very exciting work both with Brian and with his mom. If people want to participate in that and want to know more about it, Keri, where do they go?
Well, here's what I want to, Brian and I've talked about it because I think that you will be fabulous with people.
I think it's so too.
I think that, like my son's support staff is a young man same age with autism. Mm. I can see you mentoring other people with autism, and this panel that's happening next week is a way to begin engage from the person first perspective, your values, your dreams, your hopes, what's easy for you, what's hard for you. So I'm thinking that how people could access this is I would like to see Brian and maybe other people through the Art of Autism begin to do like a once a month kind of a forum like this.
Yeah.
And where we take questions from audience. Yeah. And it's autism to autism with supports. Yeah. And that's how we're building that. The Art of Autism is doing 7 tutorial films this year.
Wonderful. On
how to brand, market, etc. So that's a lot about the work functioning.
Right.
I see this as being a forum where it can be autism to autism, sharing ideas.
Yeah.
And so I see you leading that kind of a forum with other people. And so not yet, but people will be able to access kind of the values and the core work of what we do as we build it this year.
So we're starting with this event on February 2nd, and it's happening at the Chabad. And where should people go? Should they go to the Art of Autism Facebook page to get more information?
Yes, they can go to the Art of Autism Facebook page where we've got a couple of things up, but the blog will be officially put out tomorrow.
Okay.
Can I tell a little bit about the people who are going to be on the panel?
Absolutely.
Why don't you help share their names, and we'll go one by one, and I'll share a little bit, because right now is a learning opportunity for us so that he can be more conversational about his fellow panel members.
Yes.
The 6 panel members will include myself. My name is Brian Dunn.
Yes.
I'm a nice, quiet, good-natured person. And it will also include number 2, Alex Generous. Keri right. And number 3, Dan Rosian. 4, Ikea Wilson. 5, Steve Andrews. And 6, Louis Tirado.
So Alex Generous is an early 20s young gal who won a national science competition when she was 19.
Wow.
She's gone on to do 1 TED Talk and 2 TEDx Talks.
Wow.
She is a writer, she is an artist, and she is an advocate, and she is a dynamic woman, and I'm really excited about that because we have 2 women panel members, and we need more voices of the first-person perspective in women's issues, in disabilities. So we're excited to have her. We're really lucky to have her. Dan Rosian, this is exciting. He will be using augmented communication to answer his questions because he does not use, I hate the word functional conversation, but it is not conversation as we might do right here.
He's not using vocal speech.
Right. Thank you. So there, I never know how to be politically
Well, I
correct.
know. I mean, there's all these words and they mean different things, and people talk about being nonverbal, and so I always say, there's not vocal speech, and so and then somebody will tell me if that's wrong. Who knows? But how wonderful! But I have heard that you would like questions sent in early.
We've gotten 3 questions. We have room for about 3 more.
Okay.
So yes, questions early from around the country. We're looking forward to that.
All right, fabulous.
And so, for example, all the panel members have received the questions in advance.
Love
so
that.
Dan is able to take his time. He's an 11th grader, by the way, and so that's exciting. We have Luis Tirado, who's also a teenager.
Yes.
He used to live here. He's coming in from Boston to be on the panel.
I've met him, and a lovely young man, brilliant artist.
Fabulous artist, going into music, actually. He's at the Boston, I think it's the Boston Conservatory now.
Well, hello.
He is somebody I've known for years and just adore him, and he's going to have definitely some good things to share with the audience and so forth. We've got Ikea Wilson, who is again an artist. A lot of these people tend to be in the arts. The arts, though, often help individuals on the spectrum to create and to launch and to share their voice.
Yes.
So I tend to attract people who love music, drama, dance, painting. So a lot of them have the interest in the arts, but they also have a passion for advocacy.
It's the magic in you that attracts that. We're almost out of time, so I do want to point out that if people are attending live, and they can, that there's a $10 ticket fee, but that all of that money, my understanding, goes to the people on the panel, all of it.
Yeah, let me clarify.
Okay.
It's $10 a ticket at the door.
Okay.
Live streaming is free.
Right.
Anybody who watches it through streaming through the YouTube channel, which we'll put that up and get that going on.
Do we know what the address is for the YouTube channel yet?
I have to say no. We're
We'll
literally
let
doing it as we
next
speak
Thursday.
today.
Okay.
But people can check in with the Art of Autism. They can look me up on Facebook,
great.
what have you.
And that is free on YouTube.
Yes, and 100% of that $10 that people have been buying. Oh, Eventbrite. We are on Eventbrite currently.
All right. And so that will continue to update.
Maybe at the end of this program you can tag the Eventbrite, and that
we're
way.
like literally 30 seconds left.
That's what I said. Never mind. So,
but we'll tell them next week.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
But in any case, if you are here locally and want to go, $10 and it goes to the panel. I love that. But we will update you next week on how to watch the live stream, which is free. We're totally out of time. We will be back next Wednesday. But thank you guys so much for being here, and I wish you the most wonderful luck. You did great.
Thank you.
For your second interview, this is amazing. Truly wonderful.